Can you guys hear me? Microphone check 1 2, testing 1 2 3. Welcome in, Tammy, Frederica, Amy. Frederica says it's cold here in Indiana and it's going to get colder this weekend. It's not too bad here. You guys wouldn't think it's cold. Good to see you. Welcome back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. I'm your host, Patrick Vallejos, broadcasting to the world live from Phoenix, Arizona. Today we are going to dive back into Abby and Libby's case, also known as the Delphi murders. We talked a little bit about Ron Logan. We talked a little bit about Brad Holder, but when talking about, and also Reese Davis. So when we talk about Ron Logan, I think it's important that we mention this guy here. So that's really all I have planned for you guys, is to kind of bring some attention to James Haas and where he fits in all of this. And then the rest of the time, we're just going to hang out in the chat. You know, if you guys have questions, if you want to join the panel, if you want to call in, whatever, we'll make it happen. Redfoot, what's up? Amy says it's freezing here in the UK. I bet. Cindy, what's going on? Jay Burns in the building. There for sure. Lured for sure. What's up, Patty? Thanks for reminding me. Jay Burns. So is that one thing that we can definitely all agree on, right? The girls were lured there. Can we agree on that? It's good to see you, Patty. I'm in the middle on Ron Logan. In the middle of the Ron Logan show right now. Where are you at? What do you think? What's your opinion about all that? Because, I mean, Reese and James Haas could both be lying. You know, they have motivation to lie. They may be following the same kind of strategic jailhouse snitch game plan there, right? They get lucky enough to be locked up with somebody that's connected to a high-profile case. Why wouldn't they try to exploit that? She Warrior, what's up? Cindy says Ron isn't part of it. You know what? I used to think that. Now I'm just not sure. It just makes so much sense, right? It's like we all were right. You had people over here going after Ron Logan. Like, no, 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 no. It's Richard Allen. It's Richard Allen. No, 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 no. It's Keegan Kline. It's Keegan Kline. No, it's Keegan Kline and Richard Allen. But wait. If what Reese Davis is saying is true, it's all of them, right? That would explain why people are so suspicious of Ron Logan and his activities that day. Even from going to the dump to faking his alibi, all of that. The reason he looks so guilty is because maybe he participated. Well, then what about Keegan Kline and all that Anthony Schott stuff? Well, maybe Reese is telling the truth about that. Maybe Keegan Kline and Ron Logan are connected. Remember what Bart said when he was interviewed on Murder Sheet? He said that TK used to take him fishing down underneath the bridge, basically down there near the crime scene. The only way to get there to go fishing is to go through either the cemetery, take the long way near the Wilson Bridge, or just simply ask your friend Ron Logan, like, hey, man, can I go fishing right there? Take that path between the cemetery and Ron Logan's home that Ron takes, right? Whenever he takes the media, where he proudly shows them where two people were killed, right? He's very proud when he explains it. So just picture like a TK taking Kagan, Bart, and all these people right down that same path. Right? We're going down this path. My friend gave us permission. Where does that path lead? Right to the dump site or the murder scene. But I get why people think he could be. Yeah, me too. I'm not sure, Cindy. But man, it just fits so perfectly. And with everything we know now, when we went back to watch all of his interviews with local media, it seems really creepy. Doesn't mean he's the bridge guy, right? I just don't see Ron Logan crossing that bridge and going across the water like that, but he could have. Somebody that lives nearby could be thinking, well, I live right here. If it's cold, I'll just run inside and change. Jill Moser, what's going on? They had to be lured there. On paper, I mean, it's obvious, right? And this could even be mistaken as Abby. According to James Haas, Ron Logan was pleasuring himself and he kept saying her name, Abby, Abby, Abby. Richard Allen said, I'm sorry for what I did to Abby. Kagan Klein said that Reese said that Kagan Klein told him that they had photos of Abby as well. So if they're stalking online and they get right, they're trying to lure Libby or Abby. Most likely, it sounds like Libby to Ron Logan's house. So this one would have been posted to Snapchat. And if what Reese's saying about the burner phones is true, and what we learned in Kagan Klein's transcripts, right, that two burner phones were logging into the Anthony Shots account at 8 a.m., right? Logging in, logging out, logging in, logging out. They still haven't identified these phones. These phones are missing. One of these phones very well could be the phone that was in Richard Allen's hand, right? Oh, I was looking at a stock ticker. No, you were looking at a burner phone that was handed to you at 8 a.m. in the morning. Remember, it was Richard Allen that was not too far away in Mexico, Indiana, visiting with his mother, also at 8 a.m., left at 11. I think he was trying to establish his alibi. I was with my mother, right? Leaves his phone at his mom's, connected to the Wi-Fi. Kagan Klein does the same thing. Says he was at his grandparents', goes and connects to the Trexler Wi-Fi. You know, maybe even placing the phone in the back of a vehicle. I think it would be as simple as that, right? So you have the two burner phones logging in to the Anthony Shots account. We know that they were communicating with Anthony Shots the day before. Thank you, Cindy. I mean, these are all facts that Anthony Shots is communicating with the girls the night before, while they're on the bridge. And if they are targeting the girls, right? And all of a sudden, they're over there waiting at Ron Logan's and they see this. Bam, it's his back. 12:43. All right, well, what are we going to do? Well, let's walk through the crime scene. Let's walk through the crime scene. Maybe two of them. and we'll walk to the bridge. Well, they get over here and nobody's here. The girls already left. They're already headed over here to the bench towards the Freedom Bridge. So they get back home from walking all the way to the bridge and they communicate with the rest of the group, right? Richard Allen, did you see that? Yeah. What should we do? He says, well, I'll just go park at the CPS building and I'll force him back. I'll force him back down. And they could have intended on going to the crime scene on the north side. Because if you're walking the Delphi Trail and you're on your way to the Monon High Bridge, once you get to the north side of the bridge, if you decide, hey, I'm not going to cross the bridge, I'm just going to take a quick left. If you follow that trail all the way down, it's going to take you to the crime scene. You could go to Wilson Bridge if you want to, or you could go left up to Ron Logan's property. But if for whatever reason you're specifically targeting Abby, why does it have to be Abby? It could be her name. It could be because she's friends with Liberty, right? They could be targeting Liberty specifically for her name, the date. They're up to something. It's not Odinism, but it's definitely ritualistic. Multiple predators are, trying to accomplish their own goals. For Kagan, I think it might be the snuff, the videos, his fledgling kill, the excitement, a thrill kill. I think for Ron Logan, I don't know. He might be. This may not be his first time, right? If he had anything to do with it at all. But it sounds like he's the one that may have wanted to commit the murder, right? He's prepared to facilitate it in his home. He's cleaning up. He's excited about it. And then you have Richard Allen, who may be motivated by the thrill, participating in what he thought would have been just a sexual assault, right? Ron Logan's like, oh yeah, we'll lure this girl that Kagan's been catfishing. We'll lure her to my house, and we'll just do what we want. We'll have our way, right? We'll get her here alone, and then we'll just let her go. Everybody's like, yeah, they're all drunk. All right, let's do it. And then from there, either it evolves or somebody motivated them to do it, right? That's the whole wild card Dave McCain. Like, hey, we need to make sure that the bodies end up here on this property or we don't get the money, right? What's in it for me? Well, you can document it if you want, right? You're the guy that does all the photos and the trading, right? That could be for you. Well, what about you, Rick? Could be monetary. What's up, Rescue? Happy New Year. I believe they were lured, or at the very least, the killer knew that Abby and Libby would be there, maybe through friends of the girls or Snapchat. The killer went there to get to them. Well, it's almost like their movements mimic what was happening or what they were seeing, right? Let me just paint a picture. You have Rick in Peru meeting up with the clients. They're logging into 2 burner phones. These are the phones that we're going to use. You, Rick, you're going to go to your mom's. You're going to connect to her Wi-Fi. Leave your phone in her car, right? Just throw it in the back seat somewhere and run the playlist. Your phone will be active the entire time, and you go anywhere your mom goes. You'll just tell them that you spent all day with them. The clients are like, we'll do the same thing. We'll use our phones as an alibi, and we'll say we were with grandma all day. Ron Logan says, well, I'll leave, right? As long as I'm not here, that'll be my alibi. I'll go do some shopping. I'll go do, I'll leave. And then I'll have somebody kind of verify that they were driving for me. So they all have alibis, fake alibis for a pre-planned murder. Yeah, the bathroom remodel makes me very suspicious. So we're going to talk a little bit about James Haas, but really it's up to you guys, whatever you want to talk about in the chat. We've had a lot to digest. But the one thing I hope we can all agree on is that the girls were lured. I mean, look at this. This photo right here that looks like Abby. Remember Rick? Sorry for what I did to Abby. Looks like a friend is taking a photograph of Abby. Right? What do? They weren't at the bridge. Right at 126. Rick says, I'll go cut him off on the other side of the trail. Right? It's almost like they're running around this trail like they're high or drunk, like they're hunting almost. Like some kind of hunting expedition. So if they're being stalked through Snapchat, they would have just seen this, right? 126, boom. This is posted to Snapchat. And these guys are all friends with Anthony Shots too. So they're seeing this, like, oh shit, there she is. Where is that? Rick's like, I know where that is. That's at the beginning of the trail. I'll hurry up and cut them off. So this goes up at 126. And then we have Rick at 127, like a minute later, guys. It's like he saw it, made the decision, and went. And there he is. A minute after seeing that Snapchat post, he's flying over here to the CPS building. And what did these girls say they saw? They saw a man who seemed like he was having a bad day. They waved at him, he didn't wave. He was moving with purpose. Yeah, they all described him differently because they all, are from different age groups. You know, your mind just seems to fill in the gaps, and you're going to fill in the gaps with currently what's appropriate for you and where you're at in life, right? Rick says, I saw these girls here. Boom, describes them in perfect detail. They say, yeah, we saw the bridge guy. Rick's hanging out, laying in wait. And if he still has eyes on Snapchat, he just saw this photograph right here at 7:05. Boom. He's like, there they are. They're on the bridge. All right, let's go. So it's Rick's job to get them down this hill and over there to Ron Logan's property. I think that might have been the entire goal, if we can trust Reese and James Haas, right? They're painting us a very dark picture of who Ron Logan may be in real life. Not this likable, lovable old man. That could be the whole purpose of him doing all of these interviews and going down to the crime scene, right? He could be hiding in plain sight and getting enjoyment out of it. In his interviews, he does seem like that. So Snapchat, they have this, and shortly after this goes up on Snapchat, which I think was at 5:07. I mean, we're talking immediately after that. This guy starts heading to the girls. So it's obvious that they're being stalked via Snapchat. And don't you find it interesting that at 8 a.m. at the Klein home, you have two phones that have yet to be identified logging into the Anthony Shots account? Literally, you can play it out as you read it in your mind, the way it's described. And the officer asks him, why are you taking two separate phones and logging into the same account? He's like, I don't know, so I can talk to more people. Like, what are you talking about? It's the same account with two separate phones. And where are these phones? What would be the purpose of him logging in and logging out to two separate phones? Well, it's obvious, to give one to this fucking guy right here on the bridge, who is Richard Allen. Did he put the blade to the girls? Maybe. But he was definitely there. So if the girls were going to run, they're going to run right into the arms of the Kleins and Ron Logan. And don't forget what Brad Heath was talking about. He's like, nah, I didn't see that car. I saw an older model car. Betsy Blair said I saw an older model car, right? It had an older boxy shape to it. Brad Heath said, well, that's kind of like the car I seen. Not only did I see that car parked kind of funny, not too far from the CPS building, I talked to a buddy of mine who works there at Anderson's. Hold on, I'm going to sneeze. It's coming. So Brad Heath talks to a buddy of his that works at Anderson's and says, you know what? I saw that car. I saw the car when it was parked funny, but you want to know what else? Around 4 o'clock, when I was heading out, I saw that car parked up there by the Freedom Bridge, parked in a way it seemed as if he was overlooking everything. So the car must have been kind of facing the trails, right? Where you could see everything going on. People coming up and down the road who might be searching at that very moment, what the killers were doing. So who was that? Who was that person? Reese said that after it was all said and done, Ron and Kagan told him that somebody showed up later after everything was already finished. The staging of the crime scene and everything. That somebody came and retrieved a burner phone. That could be very well what went to Las Vegas. That could have been it. That could have been everything right there. I think the crime scene leak, the crime scene photo leak, had a lot to do with that as well. I think people actually had maybe even video, the actual video of the crime, but definitely photographs of the crime scene that had nothing to do with what was leaked from the defense team. Like these were something different. So that could be the product that was taken on that burner phone. That could have been the motivating factor for, at least the Kleins and somebody else to want to go to Las Vegas and meet somebody on Craigslist. And everything he was doing in Las Vegas, he had a burner phone, right? Brand new burner phone. He only used it for those 3 days. And with that burner phone, he used it to try to meet somebody on Craigslist. And he kept trying to bring it up to the investigative team like, oh, when I met that guy, right? And they're like, hey, we don't care about this guy and you trying to find drugs. Tell us about the Delphi case. And he's kind of like, oh, you don't want to hear about this guy I met on Craigslist with this burner phone here? You don't want to hear about that? They're like, no, we don't care about drugs. Tell us why you were looking up the case. He's like, all right, well, you guys obviously don't know anything about the guy I was meeting, which could very well break this entire case, right? Maybe they do know that guy. That could be who they were protecting. The person who actually made that purchase. What's up, Jill? She Warrior. Can you remind me who Haas is? Yes, let's take a look. Here's a refresher on Haas. So this came out August 16th, 2017. And there he is. Man, he's just a beauty. He's so ugly, both his eyes are trying to run away. Get me out of here. Carroll County East 911 dispatch received a report from Tracy Houchin August 10th at 10:48 a.m. saying she returned home to find her boyfriend unresponsive. Investigators found the victim, Richard M. Houchin, 62, of Deer Creek, and he appeared to be deceased. Tracy Houchin was a former wife and the current live-in girlfriend of the victim. Preliminary suspicions centered on the condition of the home's interior when investigators arrived. Items in the home were found in disarray. An autopsy was scheduled for August 11th. According to the probable cause affidavit filed in Carroll County Court by County Detective Tony Leggett, who's that guy? On August 14th, It was determined at the scene the cause of death was most likely due to two bullet wounds to the head, which appeared to be from a small caliber firearm. Haushin told investigators she suspected James Haas, her former boyfriend, of hurting her former husband. It was stated in a probable cause affidavit Haas made many attempts to contact Tracy, which she rejected. She said that her and her former husband planned to remarry in September. James Haas's brother, Perry, told a White County investigator that his brother James indicated he wanted to hurt Houchin and described a scenario in which that would happen. Perry Haas said that he heard a man was found dead in Deer Creek, called the White County investigator about the manor. So his brother knew it was him. The girlfriend knew it was him. The brother called in and said, I heard about that guy that got killed. Well, my brother was making threats and he told me he was going to kill a guy. He has a 22 gun. 22 gun was used, caliber gun, rifle. I'm not exactly sure. So now Haas is locked up. He ends up getting convicted of murder, and he's from Delphi. So now he's locked up with Ron Logan. That's James Haas. So the only connection between Ron Logan would be the connection between Haas and Reese. Reese says that Ron Logan confessed to him, and James Haas says that Ron Logan confessed to him. They both could be lying, right? They both could be taking advantage of being close to somebody that's connected to a high profile case. Redfoot, in my opinion, those murders never would have happened if the Anthony Shots account didn't exist. I agree. Probably right, Redfoot. I agree, Redfoot. There's more to the Anthony Shots account than we know. Well, one thing I know about the account is it was created 2016 around I think mid-July. And remember, it was Rick Snay who was friends with Tony Klein. And one day he was doing a live stream and kind of talking shit to me, saying, "Oh, he keeps bringing up Tony Klein and he thinks he's defending him." But this information slipped out. He's like, "I talked to Tony. When I talked to him, he told me that he purchased those tickets 6 months before the murders happened." Right? Or 6 months in advance. 6 months in advance is exactly when the Anthony Shots account was created. So this is almost like a plan that was hatched and had to be completed before the 20th. Right? We have to have this product. We have to have this burner phone in our hand. I do not believe that's Ron Logan. I think it's possible that Ron Logan told Reese, like, that's me. Like, basically saying, like, yeah, I definitely, I'm the guy that killed the girls. Nobody knows it. But yeah, I'm the bridge guy, right? Not saying like that's me personally, but everybody keeps saying, well, this is the killer. He's like, no, I'm the killer. Good to see you, Miss Candy 84. Who visits mom that early though? Yeah, what's going on? Something very important about 213, 17, 2 13-year-olds at 2:30. Something with the 23, and that's an occult number. And crossing the bridge, maybe it was even important to cross the creek. So if you have a customer who's saying, I want this, I want this, I want this, if you do this for me, I will give you money. Bring me the trophies too, the underwear and the sock. So imagine a killer or somebody who orchestrated the murder sitting back in their big house, hiding in plain sight, looking like a pillar of their community. And they go back into their little shed and boom, they pull out that burner phone and they pull out these trophies and they lay them out on the table and they watch all the news media and they watch all the social media and they're getting off on it. They're getting off on the fact that everybody's making such a big deal out of this case and they're responsible for it. Not only are they responsible, they get to rewatch it. They might have photographs and they actually have their hands on the trophies. Or perks, like, they could do whatever they want in that area and get away with it. And they really didn't care about what happened to Liberty. Yeah, just scouting for alibi. Abby's grandma, what's up? Happy New Year. Good to see you. What you been up to? I think Richard Allen also visited Klein when he was in Peru. He wanted in the dark web that Klein was involved in. Klein lured Libby for Richard to assault. Well, think about this, Luna. Good to see you, by the way. If Kagan Klein was setting up these phones, right? He sets up his Dropbox. He even has a private server that he has access to. Remember, he has knowledge about all of that. So if he has these servers and you need a password, right? On Tony Klein's voicemail, it said 10 years in Alaska. That could be your password, right? You call, go straight to voicemail, 10 years in Alaska. Okay, that's my password. So you don't need to go on the dark web. Kagan has all of these accounts set up. You can just click on the Anthony Shots profile. You can see all of the conversations. You can even begin communicating yourself. So if somebody's like decides to put on a ski mask and go pay him a visit, they might just have access to a burner phone and looking at this conversation where this girl's like, "Yeah, I'm home alone. Come over." Because recently there was a murder. Can't remember exactly where, but that exact same. I think it was in New York. It wasn't a murder, but a 12-year-old met a guy online, told him, "Hey, looks like we have somebody trying to call. If you're trying to call in, let me know in the chat, and I'll turn on the phone. Just want to make sure we're not getting trolled." True hunting strategy, herding the prey by surrounding them with no point of escape, definitely a possibility. That's what it looks like. That's the way that lions hunt. It's like a 3-point attack. And right at about 1:58 p.m., it looks like somebody's being dropped off at the private drive. Who could that be? Right? That's the guy who would be under the bridge. Who potentially could be under the bridge. So you have right here, there could be that individual that was dropped off at the private drive right now underneath them. Just absolutely nowhere to go. Actually, you know what? Because of time, we're actually going to shut this phone line down. But if anybody wants to join the panel, you can. But we're going to close the phone lines. And let's pull these letters up here. So I always thought that these letters were intended for Barb McDonald, and they might be. She may have shared these on Discord or some shit. What's up, Lilith? Good to see you. So you guys all know who James Haas is. He's this guy right here. Man, he's just this really good looking guy, you know what I mean? Looks like he got hit in the face with a shovel. Please don't hit me with that shovel again. This guy. To whom? Sees through Rick just passing the two cars he describing being at the mirrors. All the missing phones. Yeah, that's true. Libby thought she was going to meet Anthony Schatz. Richard Allen was in contact with Kagan and Anthony. It was a setup for Richard Allen to essay Libby, but his plans went sour when Abby was with her. Yeah, they could have been trying to like hook him up with Libby. Remember, he said something about cheating on his wife. He's like, I'm never going to cheat on my wife again. I'm a sex addict. Makes you wonder if Rick has any other victims, you know, that are just afraid to come forward. At least when it comes to like sexual assault. And Keegan K got rid of tons of info on his phone and computers before law enforcement got to him. Yeah, whatever he got rid of on his personal phone, they were unable to recover for whatever reason. Because they didn't use a device, an app, right? Some apps will keep their own information, like everything that you're doing. They're collecting that data. Your phone kind of logs it and registers it, so you can delete it on your end. But if you did it all of that on the app, they're collecting it on their end. All the geolocation. What a cutie. uh, yeah, I guess I didn't have it turned on. I talked a little bit too much. If we get through these letters, I'll turn it back on. Sorry about that. Here, you want the link? Let me know if you want the link. With Anthony Schatz being the lure, maybe all the people were his security. I don't know. I think they were all just gonna kind of they were enjoying these burner phones. And I think Kagan was trying to show off, maybe. Like, oh, you like seeing this? Watch, I'm gonna bring it to real life. Like, forget this catfish shit. There's a lot we don't know. All right, so this is a letter from James Haas, convicted murderer. I think he might have Parkinson's. That's why his handwriting looks like that. All right, to whom? My name is James Haas. Dated 2/12/2019. Right, not right around the time of the New Direction presser. And this would have been getting close to the time Rick put a gun in his mouth. Them being his security, sorry, I meant all the people at the trail. If Libby was expecting to meet Anthony Schatz, well, my security guy will meet you on the bridge and bring you to me. Well, I don't know if he was like representing to be like a rock star or anything like that, Katie. Yeah, if you put up the link, I'll call after the letters. Okay. They're not long. These letters are not long. Please read this whole letter. I am in the Indiana State Prison in Michigan City, Indiana. What I am going to tell you may sound bizarre, but it is all true. First, I believe I was convicted of murder for knowing too much. I have Parkinson's, why I shake so bad. Now, I was pled guilty. Oh, I was found guilty with no DNA, fingerprints, biological evidence, no murder weapon. Call records have me at home. My handicapped son had me at home. My lawyers, I had till they took one from me with no, what does that say? Replacement? With no replacement. No forensic evidence. My lawyer never took first deposition. Murder. Never called a single witness again in a murder case. So why is he kind of starting out what he has to say about Ron Logan with his case, right? He's kind of projecting there, I think. Okay, they had two people say I discussed the killings with them. My half brother, which works as a snitch, which in the past years has failed to have me arrested twice. And he also mentioned of a polygraph, which is a no-no. A stepdaughter says she took me there after the fact to get a yellow, I don't know what that is. She took from my kitchen table, afraid of the dead man and his wife, to stay on the jury by my lawyer and judge. These are just a few of the unjust reasons they have silenced me by putting me in here. Now, for what this is all about, the double homicide murders in Delphi, Indiana, Libby and Abby. I know who did it. This is no prank or joke. This is where it gets bizarre. I was in the Carroll County jail with the man, and he confessed everything. He told me things the public don't even know. So you want me to say it? Okay. He told me. I caught him pleasuring himself and saying, Abby, oh Abby, over and over. Still, be still. Lie still, be still. 2 days later, he said, I guess I used to kill a couple of girls. I told the guards my lawyer wanted me to be quiet about it until after my trial. It was a couple months later, I believe. He also told me either he cut off Libby's head or both. I can't remember. At the time, I was pretty upset. I did not tell the guards this part, but the only way for me to know this is him because they never let this out to the public. He also said the reason for them being there is to get an ankle bracelet, which he has been friends with the prosecutor's family for years. And he would for sure get it, and he did. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. So he's claiming that Logan is friends with the prosecutors. Well, the prosecutors are friends with the McClellans are really good friends with the McCains. I think the McClellans represent or represented the McCains. So it's not only Reese that says that Logan confessed, it's this guy, James Haas. So I think this will be like maybe our 10, 15-minute warning. Figure we have about an hour. And then tonight we have Sleuth Intuition Live. We're going to talk about the Flora Fire case and what happened to four sisters from Flora, Indiana. We're going to talk about some true crime news, and we're going to hang out and we'll open the phone lines. So, what do you guys think about that? You believe James? Do you believe Reese? I mean, these guys all had a long time to kind of get rid of any connection that might be found on social media or anything like that. Or maybe it was the CSAM that connected them all, right? Somehow they found each other because of the CSAM. And I feel like Richard Allen knew the Kleins. I think he was spending time over there at Canal Street. I think that's also possible. Luna says, no. Cindy says, I work tonight, but will be replay. Yeah, I'm going to go through a lot of the documents, do a lot of reading, war fires. Let me get my headphones on real quick. There we go. All right. Jay Burns, is that you?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah. So if I can hear you,
Perfect.
I'm pretty sure everybody else can hear you. What's going on? What's on your mind?
Sounds good. I didn't realize that excellent would show up on the display name. Um, but yeah, hi. This is just kind of random thoughts throughout the stream. My Wi-Fi was going in and out, so I didn't catch everything. But I guess first of all, with the letters, it's very clear that his opening is not. It's kind of well, it's definitely like trying to him putting a case for himself, like I did this, I did that, like and then also, oh, by the way, here's this information. Like, why wouldn't he open with the information first? And then he's obviously not a very well educated individual, or intelligent, I should say. Um, because if he wants to get anything out of them, he would first, give them the information, and then if they didn't respond, then follow up and be like, hey, I gave you this, this is why I'm innocent too. Can we work something out? Like, why open with trying to plead his case that has nothing to do with Ron Logan?
That's why I think the letter was sent maybe to a reporter. It's almost like he's trying to get them to become an advocate for him, and kind of push this idea like, hey, I gave you this information. Now you got to kind of go and push. What do they call that? A quid pro quo?
Yeah. Oh, okay. I didn't realize it was sent to a reporter. I thought it
I
was
think
sent
so.
to. Okay. I
Because
guess that
in the letter, he
kind of.
says that Ron Logan mentioned that he was really good friends with the prosecutor's family. So I don't know if he would put that in there if he's sending it to the prosecutor. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't know. Interesting. Where exactly did the letter come from? Do you recall?
No, I found it. I knew about it. I've heard about it. Barb had mentioned it. I always thought it. I'm pretty sure it's a letter to her.
Okay.
She talks about it publicly. She was being interviewed, and once the whole Reese information came out, and his Richard Allen's defense team called, um, I think placed his name on the list. Right, placed Reese on the witness list, and James Haas, and Kagan Klein. So that kind of made Barb kind of step out into the limelight and kind of take credit. Like, hey, I was already like knee deep into this James Haas guy before you guys ever heard that name. And let me tell you why. I think it was because these letters, she was writing a book, or she did write a book, and it was basically about Ron Logan being the killer.
Interesting. Okay. I think I've heard some of these details earlier on, but I forgot because there's been so much that's come up. And um yeah, that's interesting that she wrote a book. I mean, it'd look kind of silly for her to publish it now, I think.
Did you ever hear about the Discord? I think they called it the Knot.
I have not, no. I have not.
Well, it was these group of people. Some of them created a YouTube channel. Some of them you already know. And I think Fig was a part of that after the fact. It was basically all these people that were sharing all of this like intimate information about the Delphi murders. And a lot of the reason that they were basically pointing at Ron Logan, or they were part of that kind of camp, the Ron Logan camp,
Yeah.
was because of the investigative journalism that Barb was doing, and she was a big part of that Discord. So she was finding
Okay.
out all this inside information, giving it to them, and then they in return were like, "Okay, now we're convinced that it's Ron Logan."
Oh, okay.
So
Interesting.
yeah,
I
fishy.
wonder if she really believes that.
I think so. I mean, she's writing a
Yeah.
book on it. A lot of people believe that this is Ron Logan, but I don't see it. I'm not seeing it. I'm not. I mean, I'm looking at the evidence right in front of me, and that just does not look like Ron Logan.
Yeah, I mean the bridge guy definitely like I mean, I'd be willing to bet a lot of money that is not Ron Logan. I mean, especially if you see um and I'm no video expert, but if you see like the height between Abby, who is closer to the bridge, and the guy on the bridge, who think definitely looks more like Richard Allen for sure. Um he's not a tall guy. And then he has like a short torso and tiny little legs, and I know he's covered up and it's really blurry, but I just cannot envision that being Ron Logan at all.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming that Abby is probably about 5'4".
I think that's what they said. Yeah, that's what I heard.
Okay, now he is like proportionate to her,
That's what it appears to be, in my
right?
opinion.
Because
Yeah.
do you see how it kind of cascades into the distance, the angle of the bridge? It kind of tells you where to kind of measure in your mind. And he is
Right.
like exactly like half her size. You know what I mean?
Right. And he can't have more than an inch, maybe an inch and a half on her, from what I can tell.
I agree with that.
And I mean Ron Logan, he was a bigger dude. He was kind of leaner with a little beer gut, and but quite a bit taller. Like he was what, like 6'2",
No, he was 6 foot even.
6 foot. Okay.
Hmm.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's still I don't see that as a 6 foot tall man.
Mm-mm. Just look
But
like a short guy to me.
yeah.
I mean, look at
And
this
then
face. Like that just doesn't look like Ron Logan. I'm sorry.
no, the other day when you were doing the contrast, kind of different filters on the face, there was one. Yeah, see that one right there. That looks a lot more. I mean, it's very, pixelated, of course, but I could see that being Ron Logan more than or sorry, Richard Allen more than Ron Logan. And there was one where I think you got like a good little snapshot of like his little gross beard thing.
His little hippie beard.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't. I mean, it's no question to me. Henley, stop. Um, it's like I mean, it's I'm willing to bet that is definitely Richard Allen versus Ron Logan, like no doubt. But another kind of random thought I had, and this is obviously a theory, but when you were talking about them, kind of like, are the girls gonna like, were they lured there? Kind of the hunting mentality.
Hmm.
I could see, and this might sound very Hollywood, but like a scenario where I'm not accusing anybody or anything, but like a Dave McCain type, um, not wanting to get like if somebody like that wanted to, do a snuff film or have his way with a couple of girls or something like that. Um, he could go to the like the low lives, if you will, like you know, the Richard Allens or somebody who
The
could
Keegan Kleins of the world.
the Kagan Kleins, yeah, the basement dwellers, gross shits. Be like, oh, okay, I could easily pay them off to get them to do my dirty work, and then I step in and do whatever I want or whatever. Just pay them off. So I could definitely see a scenario where there was somebody in a higher power involved in this, like the ringleader, the puppet master. Because I mean, I don't think Kagan. Again, I don't know like anything about him other than what's been made public, but just based on his general demeanor, I cannot see him pulling something like this off by himself, or even him and Richard Allen together. That doesn't. I'm not saying it's not possible because obviously it is, but it just doesn't add up to me.
Yeah, why are they so comfortable here? You know what I mean? If it is a group killing, Ron
Yeah.
Logan would be an easy answer for that.
Yeah, and he's dead. He can't answer to anything. So I feel like he'd be an easy, just like I was saying before with the prosecution team, they turned to Odinism. Like, why not choose Kagan Klein or even Ron Logan? Like Ron Logan, either of them would be a better, target. If you don't have, if you're if you have a guilty person that you are defending, the one of the best strategies is just try to give them somebody that could look equally as guilty, if not more. And Kagan and Ron, I feel like would be a better match for that. And
Well, he confessed.
um,
I mean, that would be something pretty juicy for the jury, right?
who
Kagan Klein
confessed to what?
to the murders, to participating in the murders.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I mean, that's that's true. I forgot about that. I forgot he actually confessed. But yeah, I mean, so like stuff like that, like they'd either have to have um knowledge that there's no way that case would go forward because there's no proof, or there is proof, but that proof links him to Ron Logan.
Or
Or
could.
sorry, Richard Allen. My bad. Or both. Who knows?
It's your subconscious. It's a Freudian slip. Maybe you do
Yeah.
deep down see Ron Logan.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, so I guess that's another thing that I'm confused about, like why they wouldn't, like their reasoning behind that. To not to go the Odin route versus either Ron Logan or Kagan Klein, which are on paper, from what I've seen, definite easier targets to go for.
I just think it's interesting that Reese kind of named these three guys, right? Ron Logan, Rick Allen, and the Kleins. The
Yeah.
top three people of interest, and says, hey, well, they're all connected. What's crazy is that they all of these guys. Oh wait, hold on. I got to respond to this. Sorry about that. I have to text.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. All right. What was I saying?
How Reese mentioned all those three guys, Richard
Oh, okay.
Allen.
So
Yeah.
all the three guys that Reese names as the main suspects are the ones that were basically being hidden by the investigators. Like even when it comes to Ron Logan, they didn't really search his property or his outbuildings where they should have been, right? According to Reese, that's where they hid Libby, was in a barn. So why did it take them until March to finally do that? They didn't even arrest Kagan. They had everything they needed to arrest him, and basically what he eventually got convicted on were those charges. They let him go free. They let him even escape to Las Vegas and even move back for an entire year. And then Rick, nothing even ever happened to him.
Wait, so I might be a little confused here. So was Richard Allen, was his name mentioned in Reese's letters, and were these letters like, when did they come out exactly?
Yeah, let me find my video that I made on them.
Okay.
Let's see. I actually have a video on it. Is this it? Richard Allen in the fall of 2024 by nephew Reese Davis at. Oh no, this isn't it. Well, anyway, and Reese's letters. He wrote a letter about Ron Logan in 2017, like not very like a few months after the murders, and that's when he initially mentioned the box cutter. He said that Ron Logan told him that he used a box cutter or a carpenter knife. So that's the first time it was ever mentioned. It was forgot about. Nobody mentioned it. And then Ron Logan, or excuse me, Richard Allen. See, now I'm doing it. Gets arrested. Gets arrested, and Reese's like, "Well, oh shit, I got something to tell you." Um, Kagan Klein told me had already mentioned Rick's name, so it's in the letter. You can pull up the letter. It's part of it's evidence now. And Reese mentions Rick by name, Rick and the Kleins.
Okay.
So that's where that all comes from.
2017. Okay. Okay.
Well, not
Huh.
in 2017. This the Richard Allen stuff was after his arrest.
Okay. Okay. That's where. Okay. That's what I was wondering. Because if it was before his arrest, that would be completely different, in my opinion. Um, but still interesting for sure.
Yeah, very interesting. But still, kind of behind it all, you can still see the motivation, like that he wants help on his case. He wants like something in return.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he's just not the best communicator. And
Well,
I
for
mean,
instance, he goes, in the letter, he says, "Oh, well, I want to work with you, the prosecutor. I want to work with you. Like, why work with them?" Now he's not even working with the prosecutor. Guess who he's best friends with?
hmm.
Andrew Baldwin.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, now he's backtracking on the Rick Allen stuff.
What could Andrew Baldwin do to help Reese though?
Nothing. Shut him up. Why Rick gets through his appeal. Like he doesn't realize that he's being used right now.
Yeah. Interesting. I guess he really doesn't have a whole lot to lose, but I
Well,
mean,
his new wife is like really into true crime, and if they just got married, he must be communicating with her a lot. I have a feeling that that's what they're communicating about, and he might just be regurgitating that stuff, putting together a narrative just like a defense attorney would. Cherry picking.
Reese?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, I did not know a
What's up,
lot of
Grizz?
this.
All right, final thought.
Uh, I had one more and it was a really small thing. Hang on, give me a couple seconds. It was
What's
oh
up,
yeah.
Dawn?
Did anybody see so Richard Allen mentioned that when he was on the bridge, he was looking at his stock ticker. Did any of the witnesses that saw Richard Allen or bridge guy that day um mention seeing him holding a phone at any point that you know of?
Not that I know of, but that's interesting that you brought that up because it kind of goes along with his I don't know if you call it his MO, but it goes with his whole countermeasures routine, right?
Yeah.
He believes they saw him on the phone, right? He's like, they're going to tell everybody I was on the phone, those witnesses. So I have to
Oh
explain
yeah.
while I'm on the phone, right? I'm not stalking anybody on Snapchat. I was looking at a stock ticker.
Yeah, maybe he did have it out at some point, and I don't know. When you walk past somebody, it's not that you've never seen before or have a conversation with. You could easily miss that too. So maybe he did
Yeah,
have his
especially if
phone out
he's
at
like
one
looking
point.
at you all crazy, right? Imagine somebody walking by and you're like, "Hi," and then you just notice that they're kind of just scowling at you. That's all you're
Yeah,
really going to notice. You're not looking at their hands. You're just like, "Oh my god, what the fuck?"
right. Yeah, no, that's gonna be the one thing that stands out. Or he could have his phone like in his right hand when they pass him on his left side, and yeah,
Kind of looking
a
down
million
at it.
different things.
And all
Yeah,
the
yeah,
witnesses say he had his head down, so that could be what he's doing. Head down,
yeah,
looking at the phone.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's about it.
All right. Well, I'm going to close it down. Thanks for calling in. If you want to call in about the floor fires tonight, lines will be wide open. We're going to hang out probably for about an hour towards the end, just chatting it up, talking about cases, and highlighting the floor fire specifically.
All right, sounds good. Good talk, and I will see you guys soon.
All right. Thanks for calling in, Juliet.
Yeah, of course. Bye.
Bye. All right, guys. Dawn, it's good to see you. Everybody else that showed up while we were chit-chatting. You mentioned it in an interview. Scorpio, what's up? So that's pretty much going to do it for today's live stream. Thanks for the call in. Great conversation. All of you in chat as well. Cindy, thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. I got the email. Thanks for your support. And all of you, thank you so much. Don't miss 2026's first episode of Sleuth Intuition Live. We will be highlighting the floor fires case. Don't miss it. Be there or be square.